Alright, in the next part, let's look into an essential performance optimization technique in Next.js called caching. So, by the end of this part, you'll understand what is data caching, how caching works, the different caching mechanisms, and how to implement them effectively. So, let's get started. So, the first question is, what is caching? So, caching is the process of storing copies of information or data in a temporary storage after visiting a website. So, why does caching matter? Because caching is used to improve the performance of a website. So, for example, on a website, instead of repeatedly fetching the same data over and over and again, caching allows a website to reuse the data that was fetched previously, and this reduces the unnecessary workload of fetching the same information. And by using the already existing data, we can save time on loading the pages. This will immensely lead to a faster and smoother user experience. And therefore, caching is indeed crucial for enhancing a website's overall performance. So now let's look at the different caching mechanisms. There are several ways to handle caching depending on where and how the data is stored. So first of all, we have browser caching, where it saves files like images, CSS, and JavaScript on the user's device so that the website loads faster next time. We also happen to have server caching, which stores the data or the entire pages on the server to quickly serve repeated requests without processing everything. Next up, we have CDN. CDN means Content Delivery Networks, which stores copies of your website's content in different locations around the world to make the loading faster for users, no matter where they are. Next up, we have database caching. This keeps frequently accessed database results ready, so the system doesn't need to look up for the same information again and again. So each of this method right here are indeed able to make the websites and apps faster by reducing the extra steps and saving time. Now let's see how to implement a simple data caching in Next.js. So in this example, we are fetching a list of users from an API, but instead of fetching fresh data every single time someone visits a page, we add a simple caching mechanism. So right in this fetch function right here, we need to be adding another parameter right after this endpoint of this API. We need to be adding next, and we need to make sure to have a revalidate function as well. And in this case, we're going to be adding like a 60 seconds right here. This is 60 refers to the time taken. How long will it take for that particular caching to happen? It means we need to wait for this particular 60 seconds to complete. Then only we need to fetch a new request. This is the way how we are able to implement a simple data caching. So with this particular parameter, we will be caching the data for 60 seconds and serve the cached version to the visitors during that time. So after 60 seconds, if someone visits a page again, fetch the new data and update the cache. So this particular function where I've added the revalidate equals to 60 seconds is called incremental static regeneration. So this helps the website to load faster because it does not always have to wait for new data from the server. Now let's see what happens when 1,000 users visit a website simultaneously and how caching can significantly improve the performance of the website. So without data caching, every user triggers a fresh call to the backend API. So 1,000 visitors generate 1,000 identical API requests. This significantly overloads the server, plus increases the CPU and memory usage. This will cause some delay when loading the websites, since each request must complete a full round trip to retrieve the data from the server. And under heavy traffic, this can slow down the system, which can lead to server downtime or drive up the infrastructure costs due to poor scalability. Now let's look at what happens when caching is enabled. Only the first request among the 1,000 users fetches the data from the server, while the other 999 users are served with the cached response, which is stored in the cached memory for 60 seconds. So during this time, no additional fetch calls are made. This drastically reduces the number of API requests and eliminates redundant processing, resulting in faster response times and more efficient resource usage. So, as a conclusion, caching transforms how a web application manages high traffic loads. Instead of wasting resources on repeated operations, caching enables smarter and faster delivery of data and serving hundreds or thousands of users efficiently with minimal load. So, for developers building with Next.js, leveraging built-in caching strategies like revalidation isn't just a performance optimization. It's a critical step toward creating resilient, scalable, and cost-effective web applications. And when traffic spikes, caching ensures your app doesn't break as it just keeps performing.